So good evening everybody and welcome. So great to see you all again. Give us a wave in the chat. Just say where you're from. Welcome to Photo Creative Live. I trust you can all hear me. I'm looking for some yeses in the chat. If you're new here, you've never been here before, you're not quite sure what's going on, then has anyone popped up? I don't know if anyone can hear me. Tell me you can hear me. Good, brilliant. Thank you, Christoph. I was a little bit worried there. We haven't done a YouTube for a while. If you're new here, you're wondering what's going on, Photo Creative Live is a series of regular monthly photo challenges designed to keep you practicing with both your creativity and camera. Helps you grow your skills as a photographer. We love meeting new people, so if this is your first time, please come and say hello, join in. We'd love to meet you regardless of what level of photographer you are. There's a link in the description area below to the Photo Creative page of my website. Please, you'll find all the info there. Pop in, come and say hello. Otherwise, it is just so awesome to see all of you regulars here again. And I was looking in the chat before we went live and I could see all of your comments going, oh, it's great to be back on YouTube again. It's better on YouTube than it was on Facebook. And I agree, we tried it, it didn't really work. Hey, there we go. Who thought we'd still be doing this? What is it now, 2 years later, if not more? Something that began as a 12-week thing, and here we all are. And many of you have been here throughout, and it is absolutely wonderful that you have been. Super great. Lovely to see all you regulars. And of course, some new faces have been popping in too, which is awesome. Really enjoyed looking at your pictures. If you're new here, I'm just going to mention that there's no cost to Photo Creative, but it's a big thank you shout out. I always say to everyone who still makes small regular donations to help cover the time and costs of administering it. You guys are the lifeblood. We all owe you definitely a debt of gratitude. If you'd like to contribute, then all the info is on that web page with the link in the description, or you can support us by clicking the little $ just below this live stream. So how is everyone? I hope you're all well. Look at you all coming in there, leaving comments, saying hello to each other. Absolutely awesome. So this is the Time of Your Life challenge. We're looking for an image which kind of captured that feeling of having the time of your life, or someone having the time of their life, something along those lines. And it's not an easy thing to do with these challenges, to try and capture an emotion or a feeling. You know, it's all very well, we can take a beautiful photograph of something, but does it convey an idea? And that's what this challenge was about. And it's not an easy thing to do. It was a tough one, no question. In a moment, we'll have a look and do a feedback and critique session before I announce my picks of the month, because there are no winners or losers here. This is a challenge. This is something to help you grow your skills, make your brain hurt a bit, like a workout in the gym does for your body. That's what we're here to do. So let me get my screen sorted out, because I know what you most want to do is to have a look at some pictures. So bear with me for just a moment, because I have to move things around on here to make sure it all looks lovely and that I don't give anything away too early. I clicked the wrong thing then, didn't I? That was not clever. So here we go. Oh, something's changed on my screen. Never mind, I think we're good. Let's rock and roll. Let's have a look at your awesome pictures. Oh, and by the way, if you're new here, I often interact, ask questions, you know, so please feel free, join in. I will try and watch the challenges. I will try and look out for questions as we go, but I can't always promise, because I got one screen there and another one here. So, let's get going. The time of your life. Here's a little fella here, absolutely having the time of his life. McDonald Rose A. Martin. What a great name. I get where you're going with this. I love it. A little kid in the rain. I love the fact we've got these little blurry streaks of raindrop going on. There's just that bit of movement, which I think is really, really splendid. I love the way this little fella's got tongue poking out, and he's obviously having a great time regardless of the rain. I like the way you've used a shallow depth of field, a wide aperture, because that has separated out the background. We know what we're supposed to be looking at. My coaching to you that I think could have improved this a bit would be if you could have got just that little bit lower down, just that little bit. So we'd be looking more up the street, because in the background in this area we've got this slightly brighter area, and I can't help but wonder how it would look if this little fella was more sort of framed in this area. Composition is all arms and legs and hands and feet. By going down a bit lower like this, you could have probably lined that up, because also we've got quite a lot of stuff going on with the puddle in the foreground which we don't necessarily need. So you guys who've been around for a long time, you know what I'm going to do next, don't you? The finger test. So just get a couple of fingers and just line them up, close one eye, and just maybe take off half of that bit in the foreground. I'm not sure we need it. What do you think, guys? With a little bit cut off the bottom, or keep it? Now I am guessing, Martine, that, or Martina, forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, you were looking at the reflection as well, but because the head is sort of cut off at chin level, I'm not sure that it works. Maybe if there was a bit more space and it was a nice, vibrant, bright reflection, it could have worked. But I'm not sure it did. I think if you could have framed, you'd have sort of had this little fella framed in that bright area at the back, and maybe lost a little bit of the foreground, tilted the camera up a bit and got a bit lower, it would have absolutely worked. But great idea, and well done. Good on you for going out there, for looking for something and joining in, because that is what this is all about. Of course it is. I need to move something over here, so bear with me. I've got things in the wrong place. I haven't done a live YouTube for quite a while now. I'm going to try and remember how it all works. Here we go. Now here's a little fella. Jojo Dandy. Look at that. Look at that happy little face. Isn't that great? I mean, you know, did you eat candy floss as a kid? Did you sort of sit there munching on the candy floss? I remember it sort of got very sticky in around the teeth. I'm not sure whether you needed the spot colour. Now this is a contentious point, because of course some people love spot colour. I like the way you're kind of using the greens together. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm just going to ignore that, because I know many people would argue with me on here, and feel free to go no, spot colour rocks in the comments if you wish to. I think it's always worthwhile, because everybody likes something different. But as Susan Firth just said, such a lovely smile. You've got all your technical stuff spot on, beautifully sharp, focused in exactly the right place. You've got some lovely, lovely light going on that smile. It really is cracking. It really is. I'm sorry I keep coming back to it. I think maybe black and white was a good way to go, because it really accentuates this. I'm not sure you needed the spot colour. That's all. That's about the only coaching I can give, because I quite like the way it's framed, even though, you know, this guy's face is almost in the middle, and they say you shouldn't put things in the middle. I don't actually agree. You can put them wherever you like if the picture works. And I think the picture does work because of all the stuff you've got on the shelf behind. I just think, yeah, it's a great shot. Beautiful, beautiful light. It's happy light on this kid's face. And yeah, we know it's candy floss. It's really obvious. It's strong in the foreground. What more can I say, Jojo? I think it's a great shot. I really do. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for giving it a go. Because it's in the doing that we get to learn things. It's in the doing that we get to become good at stuff. I know who this is because I recognise the man, Sam. It's kind of sweet, that. It really is, isn't it? I'm guessing this is your wife. I'm guessing it is. And I love the way she's looking at you. I like the way you're looking at each other, because you've got a happy picture going on here, Sam. I do like it. Together we shall rule the kitchen. It's kind of amusing. I quite like the tea towel. It sort of comes in as a secondary thing. There's some stuff here though that isn't quite working. It looks to me like it's just a little bit undercooked, a little bit underexposed. And it's not an easy thing to do, because I think you've done this as a selfie. You've been around this one for a long time, Sam, and I think it's great. But I think it's a little bit undercooked. It could have done with a bit more exposure. It just kind of looks a little bit kind of strange, a little bit sort of underlit. But you've got a great expression there, and I love the work you've put into thinking about doing it. The white balance is a bit, and I get that. You've got an indoor light, a tungsten light, and that's making it a bit of a funny colour. But nonetheless, it's a great little moment, and I love the work you put into it. And she really does look like she's having the time of her life, which I think is awesome. What else? Let's just have a little scroll through. I wish I could talk about all of these. By the way, any critiques that I give, if you're new here, please understand, I'm just giving you my opinion. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, wicked or wrong. It's just my opinion, and I'm intending to hopefully help you get things up to another notch. Get you to think slightly differently about what you're doing. I've just seen Jens Koopman. Nice to see you, Jens. Nice to see you. You just said actually you like the exposure, it's kind of retro. I would just straighten it up a bit. Let's go back, have another quick look. Because you know, your comments are valid too. I get it, it does kind of give it a bit of a retro look. What more can I say? No, I still think it would be better if it was just a little bit more punchy, a little bit better light. But nice one, Sam. Good on you. Different idea, a very different take here from Michelle Dana. The time of your life. It's a little bit dark, this one, isn't it? It's kind of like, hello, Sam. Good that you're here. Fantastic. Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, those grains of sand of your life just sort of draining away, but I really love your thinking. It's just a different way of how could you interpret this? Because of course my initial thing, time of your life, was having the time of your life. Hence, you know, the cover photo that I put on it with the hang glider, you know, with the red hang glider and looking up at the blue sky. You know, this person is having the time of their life, hang gliding over that little village. But this is a very different take on it. And this is where creativity comes in. It's a really creative idea, Michelle. Good on you. It's nice and sharp, it's in focus, great. To me, again, I think it looks a little bit underlit. Could do it being just a sneeze brighter. The other thing that would work very, very well with this is if you could have some light coming from behind the hourglass. But I can see from the reflection just here that there's I don't know whether it's a window or a softbox, but I can see these little points of light highlighting. They're mostly coming from your side. And I guess you're probably doing something like this, a bit of a selfie thing. But if you can get a little bit of light coming through the glass towards the camera, it will really make it pop, and it would make all those little grains just sort of stand out just that bit more. I think that would have helped a bit technically. But nonetheless, great thinking. It's a different interpretation. It's a different way of looking at these things. My little scroll wheel on my mouse isn't scrolling properly. I'm going to have to clean it. I've got to clean my ball. This, Harry, is a seriously beautiful photograph. It really is, and I've seen several similar ones from you in other challenges. How can you not love it? How can you not think it's a beautifully shot photograph? I like your colours and your post-processing. It's beautifully composed in a great location. You obviously have a wonderful lady there who can perform and pose to an extraordinarily high level. The thing that's missing for me here is time of your life. What I see, the initial reaction is, what a gorgeous photograph of a dancer, rather than that emotive feeling of, I'm having the time of my life. She looks sultry, she looks moody, she looks fantastic, and you have done a great job of capturing that. But that was just what was missing from me, just that little bit of following on what that theme is. She doesn't look like she's having the time of her life. She looks like she's doing some amazing dancing. That's just my opinion. But nonetheless, it really is a beautiful photograph. How about these two from Sarah Moore? They are having the time of their lives. Look at those little faces. Now, I'm not sure you need the dinosaur, Sarah. The dinosaur is kind of almost taking away from the kids. Now, I know photographing children or animals is a nightmare because they don't hang around for more than a couple of seconds. But look at those expressions. It's not easy. You've got them absolutely bang on sharp in focus. That is an achievement in itself with kids, particularly when you've got foreground going on in the way. It means you had to work quite hard to get that right. Who said that? Yvonne Williams, dinosaur looks like he's having fun too. I couldn't agree more. However, let's do the hand crop, people. Let's just take a little bit off the top. You could do it with a sheet of paper as well. If we just took the dinosaur off the top and just literally took it off just below dinosaur's chin. I don't know about you, but I don't need the dinosaur to see the time of their life, to see such excitement, such craziness going on with those kids. On a technical stand, who said that? Tenchi. You beat me to it. I was about to say, it's just a little tiny bit underexposed. If you had a little bit more light, it would just help with that happy time of your life thing. It just needs that little tiny bit more exposure. Now, it could be your camera just exposed at this exposure and it's about what it would be, but I think just a little tiny bit more exposure absolutely would have helped. But yeah, well done. That's not an easy thing to capture, and you have done it very well. What else have we got going on here? Alan, I'm going to have to scroll down a bit further because I still want to talk about all of them. 3 happy Beatles fans. I get it. Now, I like the fact you've used a slightly longer lens and you've used a shallower depth of field. We are looking absolutely at these guys. I like the way you've composed this shot too, the way you've arranged the elements within the picture, how you've got the lady with the phone taking the shot on one edge there. It just kind of leads you through it. It's like, what are these guys doing? And then we see the girl with the camera, with the phone. It's very well put together. My only thing is, forgive me, they don't quite look like they're having the time of their life, Alan. It's kind of like they don't look terribly excited. They're like some mates hanging out. The guy in the middle almost looks a little bit bored. Now, this is that decisive moment thing, and it isn't an easy thing to do. Watch it, Glyn. I saw that. I heard you, mate. It isn't an easy thing to do. To capture just the right moment. Something which can help is burst mode. Maybe had they, I don't know, all interacted with each other a bit, caught a moment of laughter, that would have been a really great thing. It's beautifully composed. I think the colours are just a bit red, but it's late afternoon, evening, isn't it? The light would have been a reddy colour. I'm not too worried about that. But nonetheless, good on you. It's a well put together photograph. Watch out for those moments which could just absolutely make it magic. Let's scroll on down just a little bit further. Now then. Oh yeah, this one, Diane Nicholson. Forgive me, but it just made me really, really laugh. It really does. And I totally get this girl's having the time of her life. My mum was a pony girl. From the time she was born, she was just horse crazy. And when I was a little kid, I was 2 years old, she had me riding horses. So I kind of get this. It is a superb moment. She is obviously having a great time. It's just that the horse really doesn't look like he or she is. You've captured a great little moment. I love the way the hooves are all curled in at just that moment. It's just that wide-eyed whoa sort of a look. It is a great moment. It is a brilliant photograph, and I just had to give you a little shout out on it, because also this is not an easy thing to capture. I don't know if you're here, Diane. I'm just intrigued how you focused. If you are here, did you pre-focus on the railings so that you knew the horse would be in focus, you know, horse and rider would be in focus as they jumped? Or did you use a tracking mode? I'm just really curious, because that's what makes this sort of shot quite difficult. Because if you've got your camera on, say, a full autofocus mode, it could miss it. It might be busy focusing on the background or something. So you've got to be in control of things. But if you're here, Diane, just pop a little thing in there. I'd love to know how you focus. I'll try and keep one eye over there on what's going on. Great capture. What else? Let's have a little look here. Oh, Johnny Thompson. Got to give you a little shout out, because it's kind of funny. It's like, you enjoyed it, you were having the time of your life. It does look kind of tasty, I have to confess. I'm staying off the cream cakes because I'm getting larger again, and I got to watch that. But nonetheless, nice idea. I don't quite get time of your life though. Now here is someone obviously having the time of their life. Christopher. This is an exciting picture, and it's again not an easy thing to capture well. The long lens makes following the action kind of difficult, and we can see it was shot on a long lens because of the narrow field of view and the way the water behind is all stacking up. You've got a great fast shutter speed, freezing. All of those little droplets, everything is absolutely sharp. This is where burst mode comes in so valuable, because with burst mode you may have caught a moment where your canoeist is looking excited, like they are having the time of their life, because unfortunately it's just caught that moment when they blinked. Remember burst mode. Burst mode is a really useful thing when it comes to shots of this type. But really great effort, really good capture, technically all spot on. What more can I say? Look at this happy little face. It is a happy little face. She's had a great time. I totally get it. A visit to Carlo's ice cream parlor, and your little pickle finished this off pretty quick. Yeah. Who doesn't love a nice creamy mouth? It's a happy picture. It's a smiley picture. It's quite a nice picture. I quite like the light. The exposure's good. It's a happy picture. I wouldn't say it's quite a time of your life picture. What do I mean by that? It's really hard to get people to stop and look for a while. In order to do that, we have to find something that's just a little bit unusual, something a bit different, a different way of doing it. Now, I like the fact you've got a wideish lens. It could have been taken on a phone, and I've got no problem with people taking photographs with a phone. But it's not quite unusual enough as an image. It's a great happy memory photo. What more can I say? It's a great happy moment photo, but it's not quite popping as an image. How could you have done that? I'm not sure it's doable within there. Possibly if you could have used a weird or wacky angle, maybe got her with her empty circular jar glass thing there and just looking straight up. You got the camera right over the top and got her sort of laughing and stuff like that. That sort of thing might work because it's just a different point of view. This is the way we would see this person with their drink having a great time, but it hasn't got a huge it doesn't quite have the impact. You could up that impact if you can find a different angle. Great entry. And I hope what I just said can help a little bit. Where else should we go now? Ian, lovely landscape, my friend. And what I get from this is that you are having the time of your life, but it doesn't seem to be shouting that out of the image. We've got some nice reflections. It's a beautiful place, technically all very well put together, but I'm not quite getting time of your life. Does that make sense? You might have been having the time of yours, but you don't get it from the picture. Beautiful reflection though. Let's move on a bit and see if we can find something that's slightly different. This is a little bit different. Carl Spitzer. This is kind of fun, and I'm getting some excitement here, and I kind of like the darker moodiness and the steam at the top. I'm guessing, okay, Fairground Thrills. I have just seen that on your screen. I like the light. That's really interesting light. It's a shame there's a little bit of blur in them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In my opinion, in this case, it's not working too well, that bit of blur on the kids. I think if it could have been just that bit faster and frozen them, then it might have just worked better. But you've got a great capture there. I really like that light, and I love that sort of steam going on up above. I like the angle of the shot. I like the positioning of the children as well. Well put together. Why are they a little bit blurred? I think it's a shutter speed thing. A little bit difficult to produce these. I totally get it. You know, to get that shutter speed fast enough to keep the focus on them in the dark, it's a tough call. Good on you for taking on that challenge. Katie Ann Sanders, give me any book as long as it's Through Gates of Splendor. I'm guessing, Katie, looking at your profile picture, this is a bit of a selfie shot. I'm getting that you're excited. I can see that. Yeah, I can see it. You love your book, and good on you for coming out with an idea and doing something a little bit different, which you've done. You've tried to keep the background kind of clean. It's nearly worked, but it is a little bit busy. All I can say is it's very, very similar to that awesome... Hello, Katie. Yes, it is. Good on you. Okay, Fidgety Midget actually just said it's a really sweet picture. But it's not quite different enough to capture that feeling. It's a bit like the little girl with her ice cream drink. It's a great shot of you, and I do get your excitement. There are two types of photography, I would say. There are happy memories, things that are just cute and nice and they're great memories, and I would say this absolutely fits into that category. Then there's the next one, which is kind of like where somebody is going on Instagram and they're going next, next, next. Is if you can get them to go next, swipe, and then go, oh, hang on a minute, what was that? And go back. That's not an easy thing to do. And I guess that's my goal, is to try and help you to coach it. I love the expression. I love your position. I just somehow, I don't know, it needs something a little bit different, a different angle to make it work. Possibly some light. The light's not bad, but good effort. Well done. Good on you for giving it a lash. Hard to find a blank background in my little house. I totally get it. I totally get it. Something that can help, and of course whether or not you can do it is, you know, technically it becomes difficult, is if you stand further away from the background so you're not against it, and then use a slightly longer lens, zoom your lens a little bit with a wide aperture, because that can then knock that background out and make it go a little bit soft and blurry. If you did this on a self-timer, then I get it. You've got to do the self-timer and then get yourself into the pose, and you've done this by getting yourself actually excited, because I can see you're excited. You're not kind of going, hey, I'm excited, you know. Not an easy thing to do. But good on you for giving it a lash. I hope that helped. Yvonne just said you probably need to know the book to relate to it. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know the book. I can only go from purely the image. Here is a very nice image from our friend Jane Barnes down there in New Zealand. Still here, Jane. You're still the first person that shows up in the weight room. You're still the first person after 2 years. You're always there, all the way from New Zealand, getting up early and doing this. Lovely shot, Jane. Yeah, he does seem to be enjoying himself. And I kind of like the stick caught up in the air. You've got a very dramatic sky, dramatic morning going on. To my eye on this screen, it does look a little tiny bit unsharp. However, we know all about the Facebook algorithms and how it kind of messes stuff up. But it's a great shot. My coaching here, Jane, because everything's pretty good. If you could have brought the exposure down just a sneeze, it might have helped with that very, very, very bright band running through those clouds. It's so annoying when that happens, isn't it? Because also, of course, you don't want to lose this and make it a silhouette. But there's lots of feeling here, lots of happiness, lots of joy going on. Burst mode, the position of the stick is difficult. I'm being harsh here, aren't I? The position of the stick is kind of difficult. I don't know, burst mode, if you can sort of, you know, and then maybe catch the stick. I don't know what it is. It's just kind of like, maybe within that light, it's like a holy thing and it's come down from above. Maybe I'm making things up. But good effort. Well done. Like it. Good on you, Jane. Let's scroll down a little further, you know, and just look at these as we go, people, because, you know, there's some great ideas going on here. I'm just going to bring this one up for Glyn because I know he likes this sort of thing. That'll teach you to be cheeky earlier in the comments, Glyn Haskins. Yeah, bunch of people on scooters having the time of their life. Patsy, sorry, I didn't even look to see who it was. Patsy, one of our long-time regulars. Just need to move something over here. Great. I like the way you've done this. As a photograph, I wasn't actually going to talk about it. I was just doing it to wind Glyn up, but tough. Patsy, I love the way you've done this. I like the long lens. You've used a longish lens, and that's what's sort of bringing all these scooterists up together. And you've got it all pretty much sharp. That means you've worked quite hard to make that work. Great light. Beautiful backlight. Backlight's great. Look at all those little bright highlights on these chaps' helmets. Look at all these little bright highlights. The shadows are coming towards the camera and it's separating them from the background. Yeah, I'm sure they are all having the time of their life. I like the composition. You've got all the trees nicely lined up. Everything's all kind of straight. And everything's sharp. It's not an easy thing to do with a long lens and a moving subject. So good on you, Patsy. Let's have another little scroll down through. I thought this was an intriguing thing. The Grim Reaper, signifying that the time of your life has run its course. You're having a bad day, mate. Excuse me. Oh, I've had a cold for about a week and it's luckily going away. I thought it might have been the virus because I've just been in the virus centre of the world, but hey. Yeah, I like it. It's an amusing take. Definitely an amusing take, Bob. Bit dark, bit like someone who's been a regular in this group for a long time as well. I shall mention no names. What else have we got going on in here? Let's just have a little scroll down through. I think, again, we have a shot here, Dan. You produce some really nice stuff, Dan. Since you're retiring, you're having the time of your life, spending as much time doing this as I want. Again, what I would say is, it's a beautifully executed photograph. Your stuff is, you know. And I guess it does fulfill the brief because, you know, I can see from the care, you know, the fact that you've got a nicely composed shot going on in the LCD of the camera, and you've got some great light. I do kind of get it. I do kind of get it. I think it's quite clever as well, folks. If you just, you know, look at what Dan's done here, we've got the light behind, and I like the way you included the light, but it's reflecting off of this white marble in the foreground, and it's coming back and lighting up Dan's face. Interesting one. Nicely done. Does it set me on fire and think there's someone having the time of their life? I'm afraid it doesn't particularly, but it's a very well executed photograph, which is what you are good at. Let's have a little look down through further, because there were some really great ideas going on here. There's one I really wanted to talk about because I think this is a great idea. Phillida. I just love your idea. I don't quite get time of your life. Okay, I get from your description you said 60 years of 007. What I do like, and what I really wanted to highlight to everyone, is the way you thought about this and the work you put into it. I mean, look, it's James Bond, isn't it? It's 007. I like the way, it's not having a barrel of a gun to look down, you put the camera in the washing machine. I just think it's a clever thing to do. I'm not sure it shouts the theme, but it is a theme, you know, the James Bond theme. When you look at it, you do kind of hear that dun 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 thing going on, you know. That wasn't very well sung, was it? But nonetheless, I thought it was a good shot, it was a good effort, and it's a tricky thing to do as well because you got some light on your face, so good on you for that. Creative and fun, said Sue. I would absolutely agree with that. Let's have a little look on through a little bit further. Now, this one caught my eye as well. Mike Davies. Mike Davies. The famous Welsh water monster playing in the rapids on the River Neath. So it's an intentional camera movement of a waterfall. Now, it intrigued me because I'd stopped to look at it, but I'm not quite getting the theme at all. It's a kind of an interesting abstract, and forgive me, I'm being a little bit harsh here, but I'm not quite getting it. It's an interesting abstract, and you know, I can see the rocks and the shapes and the water, and I guess there's a kind of a human shape going on in the middle here. What more can I say? I noticed you've got a motorcycle in your profile picture. I hope you took note as well, Glenn Haskins. What else have we got going on in here? Okay, Lorraine, you're a regular. I want to just scan through and see if I can find someone who we don't hear from very often. Look at you guys, you're all here so often. Lindy, Julia, I want to find someone. Christoph. There's a happy little face. There's a happy little face. And she's a happy little face in a playground. Christoph, is your daughter. How awesome. Having loads of fun out in the sunshine. All I can say to you again is, yeah, we've got your daughter. It's a great happy family picture. There's no question she is having the time of her life. I like the way you've separated her from the background a bit, made it just a little bit soft. We can kind of see where you are. It's actually a really nice documentary picture because it is strong. Her expression, the shape of her glasses and the shape of the thing, you know, the kiddies ride she's sitting in, they kind of work together as a documentary photograph. Actually, it's pretty strong, you know. And documentaries sort of thing that I kind of like doing, but again, I would say it's a really great happy family picture. I can't go much further than that with this one, I'm afraid, Christoph, but good on you, mate. Well done. Thank you for entering. She's a great little girl. I thought, oh, Irene, hello Irene. You've got a really happy little moment that you've captured in here. You know, street musicians doing stuff on the street, and you know, your street photography came on, Miles, when you came on the Cambodia Vietnam workshop with us a few years ago. And you see, Irene, just for anyone who doesn't know, Irene had sort of said, well, I've never really done street photography, and you went off with Melissa, who was helping out then, and you just gave it a go, and you started bringing in some really nice stuff, and it's really nice to see that you're still doing this, because you've really captured a happy moment. So technically, what's going on here? Well, we've got a shallow depth of field. That means that we're separating the subject from the background a bit. you've got a great moment. You'll usually hear Irene, I don't know if you are, were you shooting on burst mode? Were you sort of firing, you know, tapping out like 4 or 5 seconds, 4 or 5 shots really quickly? Please let us know in the comments. You've captured a moment, and this is a very hard thing to do. You have captured a moment. Look at the guy's expression. Look at the way she is looking at him. But there's something as well which takes it to just another level, and that's the light. It's stacking all these things one on top of the other. The light on her face. The first thing, well, okay, I'm going to ask a question. I'm not going to say anything. Where do you look first? Really, real question, please, people. Just type something, a word in the comment. What do you look at first when you look at this picture? What smacks you in the eye? Just put some comments in there, please, everybody. What smacks you in the eye when you look at this? You're just awkward, Glyn. Yeah, absolutely. It's the lady's face. For most of you, it's the lady's face. There will, of course, be variations according to interest. Yeah, I get it. So, you know, the musicians amongst you might notice the instruments first. But overall, vast majority of you are saying the first thing we look at is that happy face. Yes, the expression helps, but it goes a little step further than that too. It's the light. The angle of her face means she's catching the light just beautifully. And that is what is accentuating that expression. That is what is helping us look straight at her. The guy's face is slightly in shade from his hat, so therefore he's secondary. It's her excitement, her happiness that is really working. It's a great shot, Irene. I'm sorry I haven't got it further along the line, but I haven't. But I did want to talk about it a little bit, because anyone here who's struggling a little bit, thinking, well, why, what is it? What is it? There's a lot of things to stack up with this. And this is a complex challenge. It is a hard one. Most of these photo creative challenges, formerly photo lockdown challenges, they are pretty tough. Just to let you know, by the way, the next challenge is designed to be not so tough. I'm just interested in an interpretation, but you can wait and see. The next challenge is actually designed for some of you guys who thought, I can't produce a picture like this. Right, the next challenge is absolutely for you. Get stuck in. Beautiful picture, Irene, and I hope what I was just saying about it and the explanation as to that light has helped all of you. If you're going to do shots like this, you need to spend time observing. It's not a question of running around going click, 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 click. I'll come back to you, Mind Gem. It's not a question of just going click, 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 click. It's about watching. Very often it's about sitting still and watching and seeing what's going on. And then you might notice, hey, look, every time that woman looks up at that guy, the light catches her face beautifully. Right, where do I need to be to capture that? What sort of focal length lens do I need? What sort of shutter speed will I need to freeze any movement? What sort of aperture will I need to separate out the background? That's that thought process that goes into really every picture. And that's what my online courses are all about, of course. You know, I can teach you that thought process in the 7 building blocks, but before you're ready to go there, you've got to absolutely have camera controls, light and composition nailed, and that's what Masterclass does. If you're confused with any of those things, go take a look, please, because they will help you. That's why we've got some awesome reviews. Mindgem just said, could I open these pictures in Lightroom, maybe do some cropping and tweaking of colours? I have thought about that, Mindgem, but it's something I'm not going to do, I'm afraid, because it then takes so long and I only get to talk about 2 or 3 pictures and not give as many people in the group the benefit as I can. So that's the only reason, I'm afraid, I'm not going to go there with that. Everyone's sound okay, says Alec. Shout out, just give us a Y, just give us a yes, sound is okay, good. Because I'm always nervous about that stuff. Now here, who have we got here? Ken Hammond. we got a bit of fun going on here, but I think your shot's just a little busy. I like your colours. The yellows and the blues work well. You've got a great exposure. Thank you guys. Thanks for confirming that. You've got a great exposure. The yellows and the blues and the greens, they all work very, very well. It's a difficult shot to get because I think there's just a few too many lines, and I find that your performer is just slightly lost in there, even though she's kind of caught in this triangle. This would be another one of those examples where it's worth hanging out and just being there for quite a while. Spend as much time as possible watching and observing, and then thinking about, right, from this angle it's a bit busy. What if I come from this angle? What if I come from that angle? This is what I mean about spending the time, and it's a difficult thing to do, and it's something you absolutely have to do on your own and make the time to do it, simply because you drive other people absolutely nuts if you try and do this with someone who isn't a photographer. You sometimes drive just photographers nuts. Age concern, I actually clicked the wrong thing, but seeing as you're here, let's just have a little chat. Similar thing, I like your colours. My coaching to you is this little fella's not quite sharp and your geese are. So I think your focus just kind of missed the place. You've got a wide aperture and a shallow depth of field, which is great. But what's happened is the focus has missed the little boy and it's hit the geese. So, you know, that's what's going on in this one. And it would have helped. I'm not getting the delight, I'm getting curiosity here. That's all. But good on you for entering it. Let's have a little look. Who else have we got here? Paul Lynn. Now, what do we got here? This is a very happy time of your life shot, isn't it? And it's a very accomplished photograph. You know, when I pick out the accomplished ones, guys, have a little listen, because these are the things which can help you, hopefully, get these things working. I like the way you have caught all of that. This little bird is having the time of its life. Nice one, Paul. It's just the right shutter speed to capture the movement blur as those drops of water come flying off and the little movements in the tips of the wings and the feathers. But also the eyes are nice and still and sharp, and so is everything else. I like the way that your background, those leaves are just soft. Everything is pointing straight at this little bird having a lovely bath. It's a really beautiful picture. Things to think about if you're thinking, how did Paul do that? The shutter speed is kind of critical. Now, very often, I don't know if you're here, Paul, I often find that shots like this, I look at them afterwards and go, oh, awesome, look at that little bit of movement on the droplets of water, because it's really, really hard to look at it and go, right, I am going to need, I don't know, a 500th of a second to make a droplet of water move that much in my picture. It doesn't quite work like that. It's just kind of trying to find a way to make it come together. And as it happens, this has worked beautifully. Lovely light too, by the way. This light is sort of soft and gentle, but it's also very slightly directional. It means the light is coming from this side. I wish I could draw an arrow on here like I can in the webinar classes, of the little bird. How do we know? If you look at this shape here, notice there's a brighter bit and a darker bit, a brighter bit and a darker bit. That's just saying that there's a gentle side light and it's helping bring the feathers to life and the colours and all the rest of it. Great shot, Paul. Let's just keep meandering down a bit. Where are we? Oh, we're doing okay. We're about on target. For once, Browne. Stella. A similar thing. I'm saying it's a lovely picture of your dog, but I'm not quite getting that time of your life thing. Something as well, just a little bit of coaching for you, like going for a nice picture of the dog. It's the hand thing again, or the crop thing. You could do it with a sheet of paper if you want. I wonder if it will work. Let's see. Close one eye. I just want to take the horizon off. I just want to take out the beach and just sort of take that top bit off so it's just dog on sand, because I think the top bit is slightly distracting. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Try it yourselves. Just do it with your hand or your finger or whatever, the finger test. I can do it like that. Worked better with a bit of paper, actually. What do you think? that is all I can say really. The other thing, of course, is I think eye contact with dog. That works well. If you can get dog to look at you. If you watch people who photograph animals and children and things, they're always doing things to get the animal or child's attention. Where I am here, my friend Lou is shooting a lot of passport photographs. And when people bring in little kids, she's always there making noises and doing things and waggling her hand above her head with the camera to get their attention so that they will look straight at the camera as opposed to sort of everywhere else like this. For me, something that works really, really well with dogs is to make dog noises. If you can sort of make little sort of noises, that usually makes them go, what's going on there? It's just one of those things. Katie just said something interesting here. Katie Sanders, she just said, how about getting more down onto eye level with the dog? Yeah, I would agree. That can absolutely help. Also, if you can do that with a slightly longer lens and a wider aperture, and then you could have that in the background, but because it would be knocked more out of focus, so it's softer, it would separate it well. There are, of course, many ways you can do this. That's really funny, Crystal. I just made Crystal's dog look at the computer. What fun. Where are we? We've got about another 10 minutes or so to go. Let's just pick on another one or two, and then we will move into my picks of the month, the ones that I just kind of got. I just got to the bottom of the page, which is kind of nice because sometimes we don't get there. I just want to pick up on maybe one more because it's a very beautiful picture. You know me, I'll probably end up picking on more than one, won't I? Cornell. Beautiful picture. What more can I say? There is no criticism I can give, no critique I could give you to make that a better picture. It's a truly beautiful photograph. But I'm afraid, my friend, I'm not getting time of my life, time of your life, someone having the time of their life, something having the time of their life. Now, I don't know, there could be a connection here with, of course, bees. You know, we are very tied up with bees. They're an important part of the ecology and the chain of life. It's an image that will make someone stop. No question. If you're flicking Instagram or whatever, you are going to end up going like, wow, that's a cracking shot. It's beautifully done. But I'm not sure it's on theme. That's all. That's all I'm saying. But it is a beautiful shot. Right. Where else are we going? I think I am going to say this one. I can't help it. Mike, what we've got here is a photograph of a nice place. I like your colours, the yellows and the greens and the blues, they all work well. I think the pond could probably yield quite a nice reflection, shot from a slightly different angle. But I can see from what you wrote in your comment that being there in that environment lifted your spirits, and I get it. And there are so many places like that. How many of you guys have been somewhere and thought, this is just marvellous, wonderful, I want to take a picture, and then the picture's not quite as exciting as you'd hoped it would be. And it's because we're removing a huge amount of the sensory input when we take a photograph. When we're stood somewhere, I mean, I can almost smell that place, you know, I can smell the spring in the air, I can feel warmth of sunshine, I can smell the sort of marshy ground in my mind. I totally get it. But unfortunately, it's all missing from the photograph. And what we've got is a picture of, yeah, it's a nice pond. But this is kind of like, this is one of those things you might take a picture and keep it for yourself because it's a memory. You look at that picture and you just feel great because it reminds you of something. But I guess our purpose here is to try and bring up that wow factor picture. And I'm sorry, my friend, it doesn't quite do that. Nonetheless, thank you for being part of this and entering, because that's what it's all about. Some of you guys who might be thinking, I can't enter a picture, I'm not good enough. Yes, you can, because any feedback that I give, I do try to be constructive. I really do want to help you get to wherever you want to go and just get out there with the camera and practice. So let me sort my screens out so that I don't give anything away. I'm trying to remember how best to do this. I think the best way to do this is, I've got to get rid of that, I've got to put that on there, and I've got to do that. So let's have a little look at the images that I chose that just sort of stood out to me. If you've been here before, forgive me, because you will have heard me say this before. But what I tend to do is go through the pictures. I don't read things really, certainly not in the first pass. And I just choose things and go, yeah, that caught my attention. And then I have to sort of move things away from that folder until I'm left with 6. It is always a painful process. However, these were the ones in time of your life that just got my attention. So, first up, we have got this one by Mark Addo. Mark, I think you captured a seriously strong moment there. You know, they are having the time of their life. Look at all that celebration going on. Look at how elated and excited these people are. It's not an easy thing to do, to capture sports. And also I can imagine your frustration possibly trying to shoot this with Putland's number 4 continuously getting in the way of the guy with the cup. It is not an easy thing to do, and it takes a lot of concentration and technical skill. You're working in floodlight, that is low light, so you've got to think really hard about how to get the shutter speed fast enough in order to freeze the action of the champagne going off. It's a shame you hadn't he wasn't sideways on and you caught all of it, but hey, it is what it is. Again, burst mode might help you. I don't know, maybe it never happened, I'm only guessing. But you have captured a bunch of guys having the time of their life. What more can I say? And technically it is spot on. Everything's nice and sharp, the shutter speed's sharp, the light, you've caught the light, you've got the exposure despite the fact you're shooting in floodlight. What more can I say? Really, really nicely done, Mark. The next one I just thought was kind of amusing, as well as being a really nice photograph from Alan Bristow. I just thought, these happy little frogs, they just look so smug, don't they? Technically, of course, everything is spot on. It's a nice, simple photograph. We've got those little frogs. I like the angle of the frogs. It's just kind of like, they just look smug. They do look like they're having a great time. They remind me of, I don't know, some guys sitting in a public bath, you know, like a steam room, a Turkish bath, that sort of thing. They're just there and they're just sort of, we're having the time of our life. That's what kind of came up for me. It is, I think, a nicely done shot. Technically it's spot on. Exposure is obviously perfect. You've got the shutter speed fast enough that frees the little ripples in the water. You've caught the frogs' expressions at just the right moment, because those frogs aren't going to stay there for very long, are they? They are going to kind of like dip under the water and move about. It caught my attention. The light is just right. It's a sort of gentle backlit light. What more can I say? It just caught my attention. You're welcome, Alan. Glad you're here, mate. Glad you're here. I think it's a great shot. The next one, which I thought is again another animal shot, but I just think it totally encompasses, I don't know, time of your life. I don't know, but it's the happiest looking goat I've ever seen. Jamie, great shot, Jamie Smith. The thing for me which just makes it work again is you've caught a moment of, okay, goat scratching its head, but it's just kind of like going, oh, that's lovely. And getting the enjoyment from the goat. It's even got a little upturned smile going on in the corner of its mouth. The light is coming from behind the goat. This is just to help some of you guys who are maybe thinking, yeah, it's a goat scratching its head, so why does it work? Because you know those times when you think, hey, it's just a picture of a tree, but it's a great picture of the tree. What's making it work? Well, it's just a goat rubbing its head on a tree, but it's a great picture. One of the things is the light. Look all around the edge of the goat. It's got this bright halo going on, hasn't it? And that's because the light's coming behind the goat towards the camera. But because the goat is against a slightly darker background, the exposure for the goat and the background is the same. And that's what makes that little bright silver halo of light going on around the goat. Then combine that with the moment, that moment of bliss, that little moment of goatee head rubby bliss going on there. It's a great shot. I think it's a great shot. Well done indeed, Jamie. We're going somewhere else now. It's a very different shot, but I think it's a really happy shot. It's a really amusing shot from Crystal Craig. It just caught my attention. Yeah, okay, it's obviously posed and staged for the theme, but you've created a kind of a wacky, funny, amusing time of my life thing, time of your life thing. You do look like you're having the time of your life. The expression's great. I don't know, did you need the clock or not? I'm not sure. I like the fact that you got your hands inside the jumper. Black and white, I think, works very, very well with this. I really do think it's funny. Crystal, is this you, or is this one you took of someone else? I'm just intrigued. I can't quite tell. Just tell us in the comments if you get a moment. Prison suit doing time, says Rob. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a happy, funny shot. I like the composition. Let's go back into analysing the picture so I can try and explain to some of you who are thinking, yeah, okay, so why does it work? For me, I think the composition and the crop is very bold. Look, to take just kind of like this area, there's stuff going on above, but Crystal's taking it off because we don't need it. It's a bold thing to do. It's kind of breaking the rules of cutting a bit of your subject off, but it works. It's quite a tight sort of a crop. It's a very tight composition, but again, it just kind of works, and in this case helps focus our attention onto the expression and the fun of the photograph. The light is really nice. The light is coming from the side very slightly, hence we've got a brighter and a darker side. The glasses, they're all helping to make it fun. That's really all I can say about it. Black and white, I think, absolutely works. Crystal's saying she's a great model. Okay, so it's someone you were photographing. That's a really great job. Photography by J. Cedar IG, agreed. Big difference between not cropped, well, and intentional cropped. Yeah, exactly. Those of you who've been around this for a while will have heard me mention my friend and colleague Bella West on many occasions. She often does things that are completely crazy and you think that can't possibly work. She cuts brides' heads off in wedding photographs and the picture still works. Go Google Bella West photography. Bella West, just as it sounds, photography. You will see some of her very creative, arty black and white work. Right, next one. Let's move on to, it's our other crystal, our other regular crystal, Bartholomew. I think you captured a real great little moment of kids having the time of their life, jumping in the snow, in the evening light. We've got that lovely late evening. I guess the sun is either set or is on the point of setting, but I'm getting a lot of happiness out of this. Kids just leaping up in the snow and landing in it. I just think it's a very joyful, happy sort of a shot. Again, not easy to do because the light level's fairly low. I also like the way you kept that exposure down a bit because that helps give it that evening feel. I don't know because I wasn't there, and it depends on metering modes and things. However, if you've got, say, a spot meter or a center weighted meter, it might look at that area where the little girl with the pink is and try and brighten the shot up a bit. If, on the other hand, you're using an evaluative all over metering mode, then it may not, because it's seeing the brightness of the snow, and that's going to force the camera to make the shot a little bit darker, which is giving it this evening look. However you did it, it makes no odds. To me, it works, I think, really, really well, having that slightly dark, late afternoon, evening-y look to it, particularly with the moon sitting up there in the sky, and the deep blue starting to happen. Nicely done. I think it's a great shot, Crystal. So, the one which I kept coming back to over and over again is a bit of an ethereal shot. It's a bit of a mystery, but I couldn't help. I just kept coming back to it because I think it's a really cracking photograph from, I can't read it on there because my screen's too small, from Laura Lynn McLean. And I get it, it's kind of dark and it's moody, and how does this say time of your life? All I can do is tell you the thing it did for me was, to me, this is a memory of a time of someone's life. And I think you've all got to agree, this is a beautifully executed photograph. It's evocative. To me, I totally get that, you know, I can imagine myself in maybe 20 years' time looking at a swing in a forest, maybe one that I swung on, and thinking, God, I had the time of my life on that swing. And I think that's quite a clever thing to do. I totally got this shot. It is a beautifully executed, very carefully composed and exposed photograph. Look at the area behind that swing seat. You see there's a little pool of brightness on the ground. I hope you're here, Laura. If you are, please give us a little wave, because I'd love to say hi. That bright area on the ground, Laura has got the swing seat positioned in front of the bright part, because imagine that swing seat was against a darker part, it wouldn't stand out quite so well, would it? Now there is backlight, and that is putting little highlights around the top of the swing seat. It's coming from that light coming through the mist at the back of the forest, and it's reflecting a little bit, but it still wouldn't stand out as much as it does. So how did Laura get that seat against the brighter part of the background? Well, maybe it's a coincidence she just happened to be standing there, but I'm going to hazard a guess that she probably moved backwards and forwards and bent the knees and stood up a bit higher to get those things to line up so that it would stand out. I'm hazarding a guess, simply because it is a beautifully well executed photograph, taken with a lot of care. Look at the position of the chains. They are absolutely, the gaps on either side of this shot, they are absolutely the same. It's been very, very carefully put together. What more can I say? I think it is a very beautifully executed photograph. Well done, Laura Lynn. I don't think you're here because I haven't seen a comment, but I've been keeping a beady eye out just in case. So let's just come back here, because that brings us to the end of this Photo Creative Live session. And I just want to say thank you very much to everyone who's been here. I just want to address something. I've seen a few things in the comments. So anyone who's arrived during this live and thought, how do I join in? Where do I go? There is a link in the description area below this live stream to the Photo Creative page of my website. If you go there, it will give you all of the information you need to join in to these monthly photo challenges and feedback sessions. It is a page on the website. You can sign up to a newsletter which just goes out immediately after these live broadcasts. Right after this, there will be an email go out to everyone who's subscribed to that list. There's not loads of it, it's just this one a month. It will tell you what the next challenge is, the date it closes, the date of the next live. There's some photos, some examples of what it will look like, and a few little hints and tips to help you through that. What am I trying to say? A few little top tips just to sort of give you some ideas to start you in the right direction. So please pop down there, go to have a look. Laura Lynn, you're here. Well, there you go. Your name was announced, and it's great because I don't know how long you've been here, how long you've been part of the group, but it's great to see you. And that was a beautifully executed photograph. Congratulations and well done. And your photograph is in that email I just mentioned, which is going out in a very short time. Thank you, photography by J Cedar IG. So, that brings us to the end of this Photo Creative Live. As I say, the next challenge will be on the website in a few minutes. I've got to finish this and then hit a button to make it go live. The email, if you're not signed up to it, please go and sign up to it, because I see many questions in the group saying, oh, what's the deadline? When does it close? What's the next challenge? When's the judging? If you just go to the link in the description area below, Photo Creative, click that, all that information's there, pop your email address in, you will get that email, and then all those questions will be answered and it will clear up all of your confusion. It's been a pleasure and a joy speaking to you, as always. Thank you to all of our long-standing Photo Creative, formerly PLDers, who are still here. It's wonderful. It's great to see some new names coming in, and I welcome everybody. We have the most supportive, friendly group of photographers on planet Earth going on in this group. Please come and join in if you're curious. Beyond that, all I can say is I wish you well. Have a fantastic month. Enjoy the next challenge. If you're someone who hasn't done it and you stood on the sidelines, dive on in, come and give it a lash. And I totally look forward to seeing you next time. Be well, take care of yourselves, and have a blast. See you later.